This Dicebreaker video is sponsored by Wild Bills. Ditch the manufactured flavors. Your taste buds deserve better. Treat yourself to Wild Bill's premium handcrafted soda pop. Mouth-watering beverages that allow you to escape to the most interesting places imaginable. Cheers to refusing the drink from the mainstream. Cheers to kick-ass canned. Cheers to being veteran-owned and operated. At Wild Bills, flavor isn't everything. It's the only thing. Use discount code CHEERS15 for 15% off your first order.
Hello and welcome back to Dicebreaker, where today we are doing a Today We Played, but it's Today We Played, full disclosure, and it is Azul, Queen's Garden.
Yeah, we are at Essen Spiel.
Essen Spiel.
2021, filming from a hotel room.
Live from our hotel rooms.
From a hotel room.
Yep, exactly. It's very, very fancy.
Yeah. Yeah, so yesterday we played Azul, Queen's Gambit.
Mm-hmm.
Queen's Gambit? Why do I keep saying that?
Oh, look, I mean, it's probably because it's a banging...
Queen's Gambit, it's that hot Netflix show.
Exactly.
No, Queen's Garden, which is the latest entry in the Azul series.
And the first Azul I've played at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting.
So a fun little entry point for me.
Yeah. For those who may not know, Azul is a series of games that are primarily kind of focused around tile placement and drafting, which doesn't sound hugely exciting, but it is a very enjoyable experience.
Yeah, and as somebody who wasn't entirely... Like, I guess that's why I've never really tried Azul before, because I was just like, it doesn't seem like a thrill ride.
Yeah. The theme is incredibly dry.
Yes.
Which is kind of like the joke that, in the first game you're making like a mosaic. And in this game we're designing a garden for the Queen.
For the Queen!
The Portuguese Queen, I believe. It's sort of set in the same universe.
Oh, yeah, the Azul universe.
Yeah, the Azul expanded universe, where we're kind of taking these different jobs, and in this case, we're building a garden, using tiles.
Yeah.
So when we eventually made it through the queue, there was a queue to play this game.
Such a long queue. One of the biggest queues at Essen.
Pretty much one of the only queues I've seen.
Yeah.
Some of it is to do to the fact that the publisher was kind of spacing out people due to COVID.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Sensible. But also, like, this is a very popular game at the convention, and we eventually got there, and I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I had a great time. No, I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did.
Yeah.
But I would love to have this as like a part of my own collection of board games,
So it kind of builds on the foundations established by Azul, where, players want to earn points by placing tiles in particular patterns, and they want to get certain tiles, and it's played over 4 rounds.
4 rounds, yes.
And during each round, players can take three different actions. They can draft tiles, they can place tiles, or they can pass if they cannot do the other 2. And there was kind of some additional complexities around drafting and placing tiles. So with drafting, each player takes a turn to do it, and you can choose to take either all of the same colour or all of the same symbol.
Exactly. But you cannot have duplicates.
No, you cannot take two turquoise birds, for example. You would have to, if you wanted to take birds, you would have to avoid the identical one.
Yeah.
And then as tiles are taken from these flat tiles, which is confusing, but they're like cardboard ones.
It is.
The tiles that were taken from are placed to the side.
Yes.
but they are also part of like the pool that you can draft from. So there can be a point where you can take quite a lot of tiles in like one go.
Yeah.
But sometimes taking as many tiles as possible isn't necessarily what you want to do.
Because it could be to your detriment, because if you don't use up your tiles by the end of the game, then how the value of the tiles is going to be taken away from you.
Yeah. So in this game, tiles have different values depending on the symbols listed on them. And those kind of mostly come into play at the end of the game. So there's a fun little thing where you get sort of round scoring, so you score each round, but then you score at the end of the game as well. And the way that those scorings are done is very different. So each round, the scoring bonuses will be dependent on where this little dial is.
Yes.
Sort of on the main board.
It like goes basically north, south, east, west, and you kind of turn
like
it
the
around each
almost
time.
like the sun, the kind of sun is moving.
Yeah.
But and it will highlight kind of the different tiles that will give you points that turn. So either color or symbol. And if you have those in your garden at the end of that round, you will score a point like per type of tile you've got, along with the gazebos.
Yes, the gazebos, which is like, me, for example, by like round 2 or something.
You had quite a lot of gazebos.
I think I just filled up the entire space with all my gazebos, which takes up like the entire board.
Yeah, so you start off with one kind of area that you can place tiles on, like one gazebo area.
Yeah.
And then you can acquire more of those kind of flat garden tiles along with the normal garden tiles, so they can be drafted like along with them, because what happens is when those like flat tiles are empty from the tiles that are the chunky tiles that are placed on top of them.
The chunkers.
Yeah, they're flipped, and then they have like a little tile space on them that kind of indicates what they can be drafted with. So whether it's like a butterfly on a light green or something.
Yeah.
And then you place those on a separate space on your like storage area of your player board. So that's where the tiles that you drafted are placed before you place them on your player board.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably worth mentioning that every player has their own individual player board.
Yeah, just like in normal Azul.
Oh, okay,
And these flat garden tiles can be placed in your garden to kind of expand where you can place tiles, and they have little gazebos in the center which you always score 1 point for. So expanding your garden is usually a good idea.
So if you've got like if you get as many as possible to start off with, then each round you're going to get like an additional 4 points for the gazebos, right? Or like if you fill up the entire place, it's going to be 6 and 6 and
But
it's a strat.
The end of the game scoring is quite different. So the tiles that you score, they have to be part of a set of matching tiles, free matching tiles, and they can match either on colour or on symbol. So these tiles at the end of the game will not score unless they're part of at least, 3 other matching tiles. But you can obviously go beyond that, and the tiles will score depending on their like total, their value. Yeah. So the higher value tiles will score you more points if you put them in those patterns. So obviously you can work to the end goal of scoring highly on those, or you can work for the per round scoring, or ideally try and do both. Yeah. But
I mean, honestly, I think we're good examples, because I think I went for the by round scoring, and you went for more of an end of game long haul kind of style.
Yeah, but we were all relatively close by the end of the game in scores. So like I think one of the things that I really enjoyed about the game is the fact that those different strategies are entirely valid.
Yeah, absolutely,
there is a lot of choice in this game, and it just depends on like where you want to invest yourself into, because there's besides thinking about the round scoring and the end of game scoring, you also have to think about how you're going to place these tiles, because to place a tile it costs.
Yes, that's another layer.
You have to pay other tiles to place a tile,
which I was very confused about.
It's a little so you don't have to do this in the original game. I've not played Summer Pavilion or a Stained Glass of Sintra, which is the second one. I've not played those two, so I've only played the original and this one. But in the original, you don't have to pay to place tiles. You just place them. Whereas here, you have to pay the amount of tiles that's kind of equal to the value of the one that you're placing. So the more expensive ones, the ones that get you more points, cost more tiles to place.
So if you want to place like a 6 down, you have to have
five other tiles in order to do it, and those 5 tiles have to match either colour
or symbol.
Yeah. And you also can't pay with identical tiles. They have to be different. So this just adds even more on top of like your decision making.
Yeah.
Because when you're drafting, you're not just thinking about what tiles do I want in my garden. You're also thinking about,
can I pay
for these tiles?
Is it going to be left over right until the end? Like it happened with me. I was left with a 6-pointer, and that was taken
minus
with
6
me at the
points.
end.
Yeah, exactly. So just like with the original Azul, a lot of it is planning ahead. Thinking carefully about drafting, and so that you don't get penalised, but you also score as many points as possible. But like here, you're also thinking about paying tiles. You're also thinking about where can I place them in my garden. You're also thinking about what else might come up, because obviously there is an element of randomness with what tiles are pulled from the bag each time.
Like you needed a yellow tree, like real bad.
I really wanted that yellow tree. I did get it eventually. But obviously what your opponents take will affect what tiles you're then able to take. So
maybe you want to take certain tiles so that your opponent can't take them.
That's a classic Azul thing. I feel like there was a bit less of that because you were thinking more about, how does this relate to my board, rather than looking at other people's board and being like, I don't want them to get this. So if you really enjoyed that about the original Azul, there's a bit less of that here. It's a lot more like, I will say it feels like there's less player interaction with this game, which could be a negative depending on what you like. But
I mean, it kind of worked for us, especially as we were playing with a man and his son who spoke German primarily.
Well, the guy spoke a decent amount of English, but
I said this in the podcast, but once again, super impressive that he was literally the person demoing us was going between us and explaining it in English, going to the other two and explaining it in German. And just going back and forth, and it was like, oh my god, people are so talented. Wow, okay.
And coincidentally, the little boy beat us.
we were rooting for the little boy.
Yeah,
let's be fair.
He was pretty good, but
he was very good.
I
And
mean,
I don't know how I would have felt about just like crushing a child's dreams. So
I mean, but like he won in a very different way. Like his strategy was different from all of ours. Like he went for a large group of the same coloured tiles and got a lot of points through doing that, as well as some of the round scoring. Whereas like I was trying to go for the symbols, like the more expensive symbols, to try and get as many points as possible from that. Whereas you were trying to go for the round scoring a lot, and like I think the other man was kind of going for like a mixture of those different kind of strategies.
At one point, he was able to kind of pick up like I think like 6 or 7 light purples and just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really interesting to see how we were all approaching the game from different angles, and yet we're all able to score like a decent amount of points through doing that. I think that's always the sign of a good a good game that's going for those kind of mechanics. There's also these joker tiles that you can use in place of paying for certain tiles. So you can say, oh, this is a butterfly or whatever, and then you can also gain some of those joker tiles by surrounding different monuments in the garden. So there's that. There's a lot of like different elements to Juggle. But for me, I never felt like it was overwhelming. There's a lot of information you have to take in at the start. But then once you've got the grasp of that, you're kind of rolling, and things move quite quickly, but there's still plenty of opportunities to kind of get your head like down and think carefully about. I feel like drafting takes a lot longer in this game than it does in Azul, because there's a lot more factors to kind of consider. But I feel like the main aspect of the first Azul is very much the drafting. Like that's, the main appeal. Whereas I felt this game has a bit more of the tile placement. It takes a bit more of a center stage.
Is like kind of logical thinking as prevalent in Azul?
It once again, takes those things that people really like about the first game, which is planning ahead, thinking carefully about what tiles you want to place, where you want to put them. It's got those aspects to it, but it kind of develops on them and adds new aspects. But none of it like feels tacked on or just sort of unnecessary. It gives you the same satisfaction as the original game does, whilst feeling like a different game.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what really, made it pretty good.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. I feel like, as you said, once you've got your head around the rules, it's going to be like a really fun game to kind of pull out like on a Sunday and just like,
Yeah, I think just like, again, with the originals all, this is a game where you want to play it kind of multiple times because then you want to see, what strategies can I employ this time? And it will never be the same strategy because of the randomness of the tile drafting and what your opponents are going to do. So there's never an optimum, quote, strategy.
Yeah.
It will always be different for every single game.
And luck of the draw.
Yeah,
really.
exactly. Yeah. So, but you'll get, endless entertainment from seeing what you can do this time.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, so
there
that was, Azul, Queen's Garden.
Yeah.
Not Gambit.
Not Gambit.
Nope.
We're gonna
That's coming soon. No.
there's a crossover.
Yeah.
The crossover of the century. No one expected it. Azul and Queen's Gambit.
It's just chess. But yeah, thank you so much, Mian. This has been Alex, Mian, and Liv Kennedy. For
there is an
Dicebreaker.
article about
Is there
Azul,
now? Please tell us about
Queen's
it.
Garden on the website, dicebreaker.com, that you can read to maybe get more of a specific idea of how it plays and what I thought of it. And there's some nice images of the game on there as well.
Fabulous.
And I believe it's due to come out, it was available at Essen, but I think its retail release is later this year.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. We'll probably keep you posted on that on the website, so you should check it out. Also, if you want to hear more from us here on the YouTube channel, you can subscribe to youtube.com/Dicebreaker, which is the channel you're currently watching. If you would like to maybe sign up to our members program. It's not a program, Dicebreaker Plus. You can join and you can watch a bunch of fun videos that maybe aren't particularly tabletop focused.
Yeah, you get emotes.
You get emotes. You get fun little badges next to your name when you're in the live chat. When we're doing a live stream. It's fun all around.
Yeah.
Fun times. Also, you can check out the link in the description to see what kind of merch we've got going in the Dicebreaker shop. We've got a bunch of merch going on. It's all delightful. Tops and hoodies and
mugs.
Mugs.
Yeah.
And it's all good stuff. But thank you so much for watching. And as always, have a lovely day.
Bye.